Mr. Smith.
Yeah, what's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to the King M.E show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey y'all, it's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
We here at the King M.E show attempt to offer a real outlook on a healthy relationship. Real being relatable,
Entertaining
accountable.
and loving.
We're streaming live on multiple platforms. If there's a like button on that platform, please mash that like button.
Hit that like button. Hit that like button.
We go live every Monday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time Zone. And on times that we aren't live, we try to put out something to talk about all things dating, relationships, and things like that. It is something that people are talking about, yet we still can't really find a solution. But we're hoping that as we communicate these things out there, that we can come to either an understanding or a solution to get things rocking.
All right, we got a couple of things to take care of.
Well, what's the first thing?
Well, today is October 7th, which means it's a whole new month,
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
Which means we got to pull out our handy dandy calendar. So for Christmas, I got a picture calendar made with all these pictures correlating to something we had done in the previous year in that month. So it's time to rotate the calendar. Okay. You ready?
So October of last year, Halloween. Is that when we went on the Foes tour in that month? That's what I'm thinking that the picture's going to be.
That's what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, let's see. It is actually when we went to the gun range. Oh, this thingy.
Is that the same gun range in the video? No, that's a different gun situation. Yeah, okay.
Rotate.
We end up going to the gun range on a date
on
here
our
in our city. Our anniversary? Oh, okay.
This is our anniversary date.
And is this our anniversary month?
This is our anniversary month.
Okay. How do we feel about anniversaries?
We love anniversaries. Yeah. We here at the King M.E show love anniversaries. We love them.
Okay. All right. If y'all are like, wait, that sounds like an inside thing, go back and watch the end of our last live stream. That was a continuation talk of some things between me and Michelle, but I think we got on the same page.
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right,
y'all. So from the game Let's Get Deep, King and I, when we were in studio location A, we would read one from everything. But since we're kind of relocated to studio A1, A2C or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
We somewhere. We just bring one card. And the card we have, is there anything your significant other's family does that you do not agree with? I swear I could not have done this better.
That I don't agree with.
That you don't agree with. So is there anything that my family does that you don't agree with?
I mean, I don't think y'all communicate great or even okay.
Or at all.
I
think that's the term you're looking for. At all.
It's really interesting. Like, it should be studied. No disrespect, no shade. The communication skills are lacking. What about my side? I'm really curious about this one because you've only met them in small doses.
So what I will say, because I'm still trying to maintain my favor, but also still be honest. Mama didn't raise five fools. Let me tell you that. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So to maintain my favor, but still be honest, I'm gonna also err on the side of communication, but to
Okay.
say that your family does not ask clarifying questions.
No.
Like I feel like that's a struggle that your whole family goes through.
That's where I inherited it from.
Yeah, that's a struggle. Not asking for things to better identify what's happening in the situation.
I agree with that. That's fair.
I love you though.
I love you too, Bank. Now, we got a couple of people in the building. Let's acknowledge them.
Of course.
We got you.
Me.
Say good evening.
Good evening.
Y'all, look, God Happened to Me is Michelle. Every Monday, the first Monday, actually, I'm sorry, of the month, she does a monthly message. Go over to her page, subscribe, and check out what she's got going on over there. Tarika's in the building. She said, I'm here, Queen and King. Hey, Tarika, I appreciate you. Hey, thank you for the gifts, by the way. I appreciate that. The smells goods make me smell goods. I can only wear it when I'm around her, though, because she's like, I don't want your scent to be caught by any of these other people out here in these streets.
Right.
So, thank you. Now, today's topic was inspired by Michelle, so I'm going to give the mic to you and have you set this up and let the people know what we'll be talking about today.
All right, bet. So I am a high school teacher. So just for context, I'm a high school teacher. In listening to my students converse all the time, there was this phrase that I kept hearing over and over and over again, and it drove me crazy. Like literally hearing the phrase drove me crazy. But then this weekend, as I was watching the first 6 episodes of season 7 of Love is Blind, I heard this phrase again. And then yesterday, I was watching this other show on Netflix entitled Nobody Wants This or something like that.
Okay.
And I heard the phrase again, and I messaged King and I was like, King, we need to talk about this because it is driving me crazy. So the phrase that I heard was the ick. And the definition of the ick is, may I borrow, because I don't have mine pulled up. The definition of the ick as defined by society is it refers to an unexpected feeling of repulsion or aversion that can suddenly arise in a romantic relationship. So it's a feeling that arises quickly out of nowhere of repulsion and aversion, and it can be triggered by a particular behavior that someone does, a habit or a quirk of a partner that makes someone reconsider their attraction to that person instantly and immediately. And King got so many issues with the definition, but I do just want to start off because I know that our male fan base on IG, they're going to tear me up in whatever clip you post because that's the life that they be about. So I just want to put this out there.
Okay.
I hate the term the ick. I disagree with everything it stands on.
Okay.
And I like no parts of it.
Period.
Hope
that was clear enough. Now, with all of that being said, how far back do you recall people using the term ick, or you've ever seen it or heard about it?
Honestly, I think because I didn't like what they were saying, I tuned it out, but I don't know, probably like 2 school years maybe?
That's actually about the same for me. Definitely post-COVID. But I would say within the last 2 years. And as I was looking up content to kind of see what other people talked about it as well, about 2 years was the furthest back that I found of people using the word. And something about that word too that really stands out. Men don't use the word the ick. Oh, she did this thing and it gave me the ick. It's primarily something that comes from the ladies. And you talked about in your definition, the unexpected feeling and it being sudden. I think it's not something that's sudden. I think it is an excuse for someone to find something because they're looking for something to find unattractive about this person, right? Like, oh, you hopped off the bench instead of stepping off. That wasn't manly enough. That gave me the ick. I'm not attracted to you anymore. That's so dumb.
And see, I don't want to give spoilers from Love is Blind or that other show that was on Netflix to like talk about the context by which they used it. But yeah, I was just about to say, Free T is in the building.
No. Free T, no. Tarika, no. Let's see. So I'm gonna put this back on the screen. Free T said, "Oh my God, I went on a date Wednesday and it went so well until I got the ick." What made you get the ick from this person? I wish we had it set up so that she could call in and talk herself. Because, oh man, I don't get that. How can a date go so well and then one thing just turns you off? Because it's my opinion that once that ick is present in the relationship's done. Because King equates the ick to something disrespectful.
Well, okay, so respectfully, I don't think you are like getting the full thing. Like, it's not a disrespectful thing, but what it is it's something that has happened or some way that like the person breathed, and all of a sudden, any attraction is sucked out of there like a liposuction vacuum sucking out fat. Like, it's gone.
It's so okay.
So it's like the attraction was there, everything was fine and dandy, and then something happened and we done sucked the attraction out of it. Like, it's gone, removed from the situation.
Tarika said, how can I get the shirt that I'm wearing? Hey, I appreciate the support in wanting that. We don't have like a store yet. But we are going to work on it. Somebody else had asked me about the shirt too. They said, hey man, dope shirt. And I told him the concept. He said, hey, is there a way that I can support? I said, well, and then he said, can I buy a shirt? I said, well, we don't have like merch, but
yet,
like watch the show.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way that you could do. She said that Free T said that it was our first date and he made a very immature sexual joke. And personally, I don't like it when men make sexual joke or advances too soon. Ick. Okay. Now, when you experienced that, did you immediately correct the situation? Like, did you say
what
something?
Did you do? I guess is a better question. What did you do when that happened? Did you say anything? Did you do anything? And then we got some special guests.
We got the Harrisons in the building. Say good evening, everyone. Hey. Salute to the family in chat. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all popping in. Okay, so we've defined the ick. What are some other examples of the ick that you can give? Because like you talked about one or two, and we shared free teas.
So I think I'm going to pull on my students because I don't think I have any points of reference.
Okay.
But my students, what I've heard, like there was this one particular student who there was this young man that was interested in her. And she kind of very clearly explained what she was looking for and the way that she wanted to be approached.
Okay.
And he was not listening. Like, he said, I heard what you said, and then would do the exact opposite of what she just said that she needed. And she said that gave her the ick because he wasn't listening to what she had stated.
Okay.
So stuff like that, like not being present or hearing what she was saying was a instant attraction sucker outer.
Okay. So when you have that instant attraction sucker outer, why don't you just abort right then and there?
So I think for her in that particular case, she was okay with him being like a friend, someone to communicate with, but there was no chance of a romantic relationship happening between them.
Okay. People don't go on dates to find friends.
That's true. So like in an adult situation, I get it. Like that looks totally different. But I think for her, in that one particular example, like she's a teenager. So for her, it's kind of like, we're not ever going to be more than the friends that we are right now. I'm okay with that. Hopefully you are too. But in the adult situation, like how does that translate? I think it just boils down to, you won't see me again.
Okay.
You won't hear from me again.
I love what Free T said in her response. So she answered our question and said that she did address it and he tried to gaslight her into thinking that she was overreacting, and that furthermore, the gaslighter
Reinforce
reinforced
the ick.
the
No, I get.
ick.
Okay, so that I completely understand. I do think that, pulling back off of Free T's specific incident, I do have issues with going out on a date with someone, a first date, and someone immediately talking about sex. So, like
the dude that was like staring into your face and
the whole time that I was
other
like,
instances.
he was like, oh, whenever I go out with someone who's really attractive, I can't eat. I just stare at them. And literally stared at me the entire time. Like, sir, what? Stop. But no, like I get that, right? Like that is very much unattractive. And like that tells me you're only interested in one thing. Like if we're sitting down, dinner plan started at 6:00 and it's 6:05 and you're already like, so I wonder what you're like in the bedroom. Like that's not cool. Like that is not cool at all. At all.
Hey, I mean, maybe dude just trying to get straight to seeing what's popping.
No, but like if it were that type of thing, like if it were a hookup type situation, then whatever. But like we wouldn't need all of that. Like the whole date thing would be unnecessary because we would both be walking into that situation knowing that that's what it was. But if we're sitting here for a date, then my expectation is that this is more than just a hookup situation. This is potentiality happening, and you're kind of blowing that.
Oh, here's one. People who try to control everything with their selective outrage, fake intelligence, and no degree psychoanalyzing everything. Ick.
I'm not gonna knock it. That's so true, though. That's
yes.
so. I feel like I've dated someone like that too. Goodness gracious.
Yes. Now that leads actually into the next thing here. Do you have any funny or relatable stories about times that you've experienced the ick?
I don't. So because the ick is a new term, I don't think at the time I related it to that. But the Harrises put in there like someone who's spitting all this knowledge. So while I do identify as a sapiosexual, so someone who needs stimulating conversation, like I can't just be with someone who is monotone and like has only one thing that they're always talking about. I can't thrive in that type of situation. I will say that I have gone out with some people who are like pseudo intelligent and like they claim to know absolutely everything, and that did not work out well. Like I wouldn't say that that was necessarily a funny situation, but I will say that it was definitely one of those, yeah, no, this is not going to work. And not because he appears to be smarter than me. Like I love it when I can learn from a man. But when you think that you're God's gift and like you're the smartest thing walking, nah, homie, it's not gonna work.
Okay. Like I'm trying to sit down and think if I've had an ick on anything. And fellas, y'all let me know. Have y'all had an ick? I really can't think of a single situation where I was attracted to somebody and then instantly or suddenly, based off of one action or observation, became instantly unattracted. I can't think of a scenario.
So before we can further answer that, I think we should ask the underlying question here.
Okay.
Who experiences the ick more, men or women? And let's go ahead and give our answers on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Women. 100%. I believe that women experience the ick more. However, I believe that a man who is intuitive will be able to recognize red flags and hopefully respond according to what he recognizes.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I do agree with that.
I would also say that there's a difference between a red flag and the ick.
No, there's not. What's the difference?
So I think a red flag is something that presents itself before romantic feeling, like before anything can like go further, or it's something that you discover as you're going along. So for example, I met someone, like I'm telling an actual story here. So I met someone and I did what I always did. I did the Maryland court case search to be able to find out more information about him. The information that I found, because I put too much specific information in there, it narrowed down and didn't show me everything. But what I did see wasn't a red flag to avoid this person.
Okay.
However, when I brought up to this person that I did a Maryland court case search on them, and they reacted negatively, and they're all like, well, why'd you do a court case search? And, you know, all this other stuff. That was a red flag that I should not have pursued anything more with that person. That's not an ick because it wasn't an instant turnoff,
Okay.
but that was a sign that I should not have moved forward with that person.
Okay. Would a laugh be an ick? Like you with somebody and, you know, I think I can give you an ick. If I'm with you and you're very feminine and present well like that, very demure, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I tell a joke and you laugh like, that might give me the ick.
That's definitely
Yeah. Like the friend off of the nanny.
Very nasally. Yeah. So like that's not a red flag. That's something that you personally don't like. So I think that's another thing to mention about the ick. The ick isn't something that everyone would universally say it's a bad thing. It's just something that you don't like.
Okay.
Whereas a red flag, people may universally say that that's not good.
Okay. There are examples where people talk about triggers, over enthusiastic texting.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. Like, I can't believe it's been so long since I've talked to you. Oh my gosh, did you have fun last night? Like, what did you do? Because last night I had so much fun. Like, all of that enthusiasm via text message, nah.
Chewing loudly.
That's what I'm saying. So that's exactly why I'm saying, like, an ick it's subjective. Like, it's what I feel. But that doesn't mean that every single other person in the world would agree with me.
Okay. Being clingy or needy.
I mean, I feel like that's overrated, but yes. I'm kidding. Just starting stuff.
Did I ever tell you about me and clinginess? Like it can't work. It won't work.
I feel like you've implied it, but you may not have explicitly said that.
Okay, well, explicitly saying clingy is something that, to me, if you're an adult, being overly reliant on somebody when you're a capable person, to me, is not attractive.
That's fair. That's very, very fair.
All right. Ooh.
Oh, there's one more thing that like I've seen. Oh my gosh, I guess I have had the ick. Oh, that's
talk
nasty.
About it. Talk about it.
Okay, so it's not like there were budding romantic feelings about someone. Like that's not what I'm saying. But there are certain things that like if I ever see a man have, I can never picture myself having a romantic relationship with that person in any way, shape, or form. And that's number one, someone who looks unkempt. Like, it's not about how much money you have, education, or anything like that. If you look unkempt, that's not going to work for you.
Right.
Like, that's totally not going to work. So, little things. And it's not like, oh, you didn't run a comb through your head today, and like, that's a problem. But I'm talking about, like, I see you, I meet you for the first time, and let's say you have a bat in the cave. Or I meet you for the first time and you still have sleepy crust in your eye and it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. Or I meet you and your clothes are like dingy and hanging off of you. Again, not because of a financial situation, but you just ain't spend no time like looking at yourself in the bathroom mirror before you walked out the door. Something like that. Like my mind doesn't necessarily say that that's the ick, but my mind says, no, don't pursue anything, because if you don't care enough about your appearance to check yourself before you walk out the house, there's no way that you can care enough about anyone else to be in a relationship. That's what my mind says. It can be wrong all it wants to, but that's what my mind says. If you don't care enough about yourself to check your appearance, then you don't have enough care to give for someone else, to someone else.
Okay. There's a very specific question for you. Let's highlight this one. Free T said, what about men with naturally long nails? How do you feel about that?
Number 1, is there dirt underneath the nails? Number 2, is it all 10 nails that are long, or is it just that pinky finger that people use, for a little something, something special around this area?
A little sniff, sniff.
A little sniff, sniff. In general, like, there was someone that I messed with a few years ago, like well over a decade ago, and he naturally keeps long nails, like probably nothing longer than what I currently have, and they were well kept. So like there was no dirt underneath of it. But if you have those long nails and there's dirt underneath of it, I personally find that disgusting. Like, that doesn't take away from who you are as a person, but I personally don't like that because I don't like someone being unkempt. Like, I can't get with that at all, because again, it goes back to that if you don't have that level of care for yourself, then you can't have it for someone else. So Free T clarified, and she said, not dirty, all 10, just long nails. As long as they're not longer than mine, we're good.
Okay. Shout out to Will 4K. That is my guy Perry Production as well, who we're live streaming on. He asked if you're okay because of Alabama losing on Saturday.
Stop.
We are not okay.
We are not okay. Like, my students have been asking me all day, like, Ms. Early, like, how you doing? Because, I saw the Ravens game. So, like, for clarity, we had a horrible Saturday because of the Bama game, and then turned around in our hearts just as they were beginning to mend. The Ravens put us through some torture yesterday with that game. We are not okay because of Bama. Like, we are not okay. We didn't even have that number 1 ranking for a solid 7 days. It was probably only like 6.5 days.
Nope.
Man. Why you gotta bring up old stuff though?
Yeah.
Why you bringing up old stuff? Like, that's just wrong.
Do you think that there are universal behaviors that seem to trigger the ick, or is it highly individual?
It's highly individual. And I would say that only because, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Let me revamp what I'm about to say.
Rewind it
because
back.
I don't want us to get canceled. However, if you look at shows, for example, like My 600-Pound Life.
Okay.
There are some actions from men and women on that show. And while I understand that most of the time there is a level of mental health issues involved, and I'm not discrediting that, there are some things that are done on that show by people who are starring in that show, and other people aren't repulsed by it. Like, some people still find them attractive. There was that long running joke that no one on My 600-Pound Life was ever single. Like, no one was ever single. So I say all of that to say, what may repulse one person either may not repulse another person.
Okay.
Or it could be a turn on for another person. Right? So, like, there's some things that, famous celebrities who are now in prison for doing like some really janky stuff. There's some things that they did that, like, it's a fetish for other people. So there are some things that, we as individual people may be like, nope, I'm not for it. But other people are like, this is a whole turn on. I would like this. Like, I want more of this. I'm going to go subscribe to OF so I can see more of this. Like, there are some people who are turned on and have a fetish for what other people are repulsed by. So I think it's very much subjective, and it cannot pass from person to person.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of those men have fetishes, though, like a feeder fetish. Mm-hmm. I saw that, and I saw that was a thing that some people like to do. And it's the psychology behind it, to me, I think is kind of fascinating.
Okay.
Right?
Tell me more.
Like, how do you get pleasure in just watching somebody eat? Like, it literally turns you on to just feed this person that is then sitting there crumbs all dropping down their body, but you feeding them turns you on. I don't understand that.
Like, I'm not a psychologist. I have access to WebMD just like everyone else. And what I will say is sometimes some of the things that, like, there's like no real control over what someone is attracted to and like what turns them on and stuff like that. All I'm saying is, and this is the sad part, sad reality of capitalism and people having access to the internet, there is someone who is willing to do whatever you are willing to pay to see.
Audience, should we do an episode about fetishes?
Ooh.
Yeah, that could get interesting. If people put it in the comment section that it'd be an interesting topic, then we should do it. Fetishes are a part of relationships and dating.
Yeah, they are.
It's a component of it.
Okay.
But only if people want to, talk about it. If people don't want to talk about it, then we won't do it. Can the ick be overcome, or is it a straight up deal breaker? I think it's a deal breaker.
I think it's a 100% deal breaker. My Sil popped in. Hey, Sil. I think it's a deal breaker for some people. Well, for pretty much from what I'm hearing from a lot of people, I think it's a straight up deal breaker. I think once someone does that behavior that you just find repulsive, like there's no coming back. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. I think that's just it. Like it's there, it's done, we're over.
Okay.
That type of thing.
How do you differentiate something that's a harmless quirk or a genuine red flag? That's the thing. I don't think you can. I know you said that there is a distinct difference. As a logical male thinker over here, I don't see the difference. I just don't. I think when somebody says that, oh, they did this one thing and it suddenly made me unattracted to them, I think they're literally trying to find something to be repulsed by to end the relationship.
So I want to be respectful of what Free T said because I can understand that. Like I can understand going out on a date and then someone talking about sex and then instantly like that's a thing.
Okay, yes.
But I will say that there are other times that like you're with someone for a lengthy period of time and then just one thing happens and instantly you no longer want to be with them. I personally believe that there had to have been something building up over time, whether you knew it consciously or not. There was something building up over time, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, that's how I believe that it happened. Like, I don't think it was just like instantly, I've been with this person for 10 years, and one day on a Tuesday, I woke up and realized I don't like the way they chew gum anymore. So I'm just going to end it. Like, no, there was something building up. But I also think that it's a lack of accountability if you don't at least have a conversation with that person leading up to that. And again, we're humans, we're flawed. We are all humans, we are all flawed. None of us are perfect. And I think it is very irresponsible to think that someone is going to come to you and be perfect and they're never going to make a mistake. No one 100% likes 100% of everything that we do, right? You don't like 100% of what I do.
No.
I don't like 100% of what you do.
Correct.
And I feel it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for us to like put each other on, or for couples to put each other on this high pedestal and expect the other person to always live up to what we expect of them at all times. Like, that's unfair. That's irresponsible. That's selfish.
No doubt, no doubt. Free T said, no, King. I've gotten the ick from men that I was 1,000% interested in, and I was bummed that I got the ick. In that scenario, yes. Mm-hmm. If things are going well and I do an action that is a respectable gentleman would not do. Mm-hmm. I can rock with that as an ick. Like I can rock with that as being something that, man, things was going so well until you put your foot in your mouth, you know, of that type of situation.
Or like even when sometimes I think we make it the ick and it's like disguised as you doing something that like I'm completely 100% against, or something that, and I think it was something that was mentioned before, something that triggers something else. So for example, like what if I'm someone who's encountered trauma, which in this case I am. I'm someone who encounters trauma, and you inadvertently do something that reminds me of the trauma that I had experienced in the
Ooh,
past.
yeah. See, I can't control that.
You can't control that. However, I also can't control if I'm no longer willing to be in a relationship with you because you did
Man,
that. And that's not your fault. Like, understand that's
yeah.
not your fault. So, like, I'm thinking of me, I'm thinking of what has happened to me in the past, like in my youth with my brother and everything like that. And if you had unknowingly done something that reminded me of that, respectfully, I would not have been able to pursue a relationship with you.
That
It
makes
is my
sense.
hope that I would have been able to communicate why I wouldn't be able to, but I wouldn't be able to continue on in a relationship with you because you did something that reminds me of trauma from my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the big thing right there. If you can communicate that,
Yeah.
because I'll never know. And like I'll just go the rest, like you would just go the rest of your life wondering, like, what did I do or something like that, when the reality is, or you thinking, especially if a woman does it to a guy, going through the rest of your life thinking all women are just the same, yada yada yada, when in reality you inadvertently triggered something and you didn't know that. So I think conversations definitely need to be had.
Have you ever been on the receiving end of the ick? I think that would be more of a question for me
Yeah, I think
versus
that's more you
the
than me.
opposite. Yeah. Going back and thinking about if I have, I would say I'm not sure. If I was, it was never told to me.
Okay.
Right. So, because I'm trying to think, there were a couple of instances where I went out on one date and I thought it went well and no follow up game.
Yeah.
So, and that person didn't owe an explanation or anything, and I never got one. So who knows? And
Mhm.
I like to think I'm not delusional in saying that something went well when in reality it was absolute trash. Like this is on topic, and I can say this one real quick to just back up my last statement. I went out on one date. The person invited someone else, and I should have stopped it right there, but I didn't. But they invited their friend, but the friend was responsible for themselves. I think they just want to make sure that I wasn't gonna do nothing stupid. I don't know why, but it threw me off, and I wasn't expecting it. Throughout the date, I was talking about my divorce
Mhm.
because I still was not over
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
I didn't see it at the time, but looking back at it, hindsight being 2020, that was definitely why that didn't get a second date. So I would necessarily call that an ick. It was my actions that likely told her this fool ain't ready. I'm out, you know.
That's the same one who brought another person on the date.
Yes.
She wasn't ready for a date. If you got to bring someone else, like respectfully, you weren't ready to go out on a date. I say that because I get it. You want safety and everything like that. So, okay, what I used to do is I would go and I would do a Maryland court case search, pull up all the information that I could find, and then share it in a group text with both of my best friends. That way they had the information, right? And let that person, like, if I, because I wouldn't let someone pick me up from my home, so I would meet them, and if I could, I would try to get a glimpse of their car and send that information also to my best friends. Bam, there we go. But if you can't do all of that, if you're going to bring someone, bring that person and let them sit somewhere else, not at the table with you and the person that you're on a date with.
Or I somebody asked me if they would have said, "Hey, I'd like to bring somebody along for whatever reason that you want to make up." Is that cool? I think if it was known beforehand, I would have been okay with it. But the fact that I didn't realize until I showed up, I felt disrespected, yet I tolerated the disrespect and continued the date. And it was bad.
And I think maybe, and like, again, not a psychologist, but maybe subconsciously that kind of threw you. And that's why you felt free to be able
Could
to
have
have this
been.
whole conversation about your ex and everything like that. So
Could have been.
that's crazy.
All right. Feel some time because I got to scroll back up.
All right. So I think one of the greatest things that we're hearing today is that apparently I have gotten the ick. As much as I don't like that term, I have experienced it. I just classified it as other things. So I didn't really recognize it in that form. And it does seem like it's definitely something that women get more so than men. I do also want to take a moment to say hello to Alexandria, who popped in. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. I saw you had it.
Oh,
Yeah, there was something else we were going to talk about. We can bring that up.
I can try and bring it up.
I mean, like, you don't have to pull it up.
Okay.
We
All
can
right.
just
Here
talk
we
about
go.
it.
So, right here. All right. I'm going to share a story. I'm not going to be able to. Give me a second. I can do this.
It's really okay. We don't have to. We don't have to.
So this is a Reddit that I found that is related to our conversation, and I'm just going to read it. It says, I, 26-year-old female, hate having sex with my 37-year-old male boyfriend. And it reads as follows. It's been weeks. I can't bring myself to do it anymore. I want to cry when it's initiated, and I have to turn it down. I wonder if I need therapy or if I have severe emotional issues. It's not that I don't want to have sex at all. It's that it feels unnatural with him. We've been together for 5 years. I don't want to let that go and risk losing a relationship with someone that I love. He has been amazing and helps me around the house and is a caring man. We share a dog, we have fun and laugh, but bicker a lot. And she clarifies and says, I feel like it's my fault though, because I have a lot of anxiety, so I can get snappy at times. I don't know what to do. We both live very far from our home, states away, and basically only have each other. He says that the sex is not a big deal to him, but it is because he knows that it's a big deal breaker or big deal for me because I've asked about it a lot. I told him I want to have sex, but I don't feel comfortable. And he says he could tell that by my body language from all these years. He will initiate, but I typically won't go for it. I also don't want to feel like I'm making someone hate themselves from constant rejection because that's not my intention. I had a bit of sexual partners before him, so I don't know if this could be a problem too. Can another woman talk to me about this, please, unbiasedly, who's been going through the same thing? And I read that and I instantly thought about how when I hear people say the ick, it's not just a loss of attraction. I translate it to a loss of sexual attraction.
Yeah.
And what this lady is talking about, I think has so many different layers. But the biggest thing that stood out for me is that I believe she experienced some type of ick from this man. And in my opinion, she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. Like, why would you want to talk about how to get past this phase with him and you like sex but just not with him? That didn't make sense to me.
All right, so she says she wants to hear from women on this.
Oh, please.
So sis, I
Please.
don't know you, but here we go. Very respectfully, my first suggestion in this situation would be you need to seek counseling, right? Like something happened for 5 years, it was okay, but now a couple of weeks ago, it's not okay and you no longer want to do it. And by I mean you should be curious as to why. Like, not how to fix it, but start by addressing the why. I think sometimes in life, we see a problem and our instant thing is to just go and fix it and not ask ourselves, how did we get into this situation? Why are we in this situation? Because if we don't address the why, then we're just putting a band-aid on something that truly needs to be irrigated. So let's do that. And then I would also agree with what Free T just said. Getting the ick after 5 years is wild, but yet that is what we're seeing, that some people
That's
will
what's
be with
happening.
people for a period of time, like not just a couple of days, and then instantly like the ick will come in. And that's where I double down and say, I don't think it's the ick, it's something happened, right? Like you were triggered in some way, something triggered you, something happened, or it's been building up over time. And I venture to say that after 5 years, it wasn't that you were triggered in some way, but that now something's been building up over time. Maybe it's that she just realized she's 26 and she's been with the same person for 5 years, and he's 37, probably more so thinking about settling down. And she, on some level, even if it's just subconsciously, no longer wants to be with that man, but she is taking the cowardly route of admitting that and saying that she doesn't want to. To add in that part at the end that she's been with other people before tells me, as an outsider, unbiasedly, that she wants to go and sexually explore some more. She doesn't want to sit in the relationship where she is currently. She's been in this relationship for 5 years and she wants to go out and explore some more. Because at 20, if you two have been together for 5 years, you're 26, that means y'all got together at 21. So at 21, that tells me that, and you saying that you've been with multiple guys before, that tells me that you were never in that long of a relationship before. So now it's not the ick that you're getting, but it's the itch that you're getting. You want to get out of the relationship. You want to be able to be with someone else.
Let her cook.
I'm saying.
I like that. That was dope because yes, it is not the ick that needs scratching. It is the itch
Right. There
that
we go.
needs scratching.
There we go.
Yeah. Good deal. So one of the things in this conversation about the ick, it talks about, is it more prevalent in casual dating compared to serious relationships? And it's interesting to me. There's this content creator out there called Coach Greg Adams.
Mm-hmm.
He has this thing called the marriage wheel. And by his definition, he says all relationships go through this. And there's this natural point where he says on the wheel, there's this thing called the bait and switch, where everything's going great, all of this stuff's going good, and then bam, you get hit with a whammy seemingly out the blue, and nothing that you can do works or is right.
Mm-hmm.
I foresee this ick phenomenon not going away.
Of course not.
But I believe that the reason why it's not going to go away is because of the amount of choices that are available to people that can find favor on the sexual marketplace value, right? So, because twos don't get the same treatment that fives and above can get. Let's just be real about that. Yeah. All right. So what makes this ick thing dangerous, in my opinion, is the prevalence of the cell phone, because the cell phone gives you more access to more people. Yeah. So if you're sitting down with somebody and this person chews gum with their mouth open, and that gives you the ick, is somebody that is like a whoever is like the if whoever you find attractive and is the sexiest man alive to you, if that man chews with his mouth open, are you still gonna have the ick? See?
No, I didn't say anything.
No.
I just
not
laughed.
You. No, not you.
Like you walking on camera.
No. I heard my question in my head, and I was like, I got you. Like, not you, but you, the viewer. No, not you. You're good. I started thinking about how I framed the question because I pulled that out of nowhere.
Can you have a seat? Like, you freaking me out, just getting up, walking away.
And I was proud of myself for coming to that conclusion, because I can guarantee that if whoever that woman thinks is the sexiest man alive to them, if the previous person that wasn't that person chewed with their mouth open and they found that person had the ick, But then that next sexiest man alive person comes along, that it no longer exists. I guarantee that. Guarantee it.
You okay?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. I want to take a moment to address what Free T brought up. So she said, do we think that her wanting out is wrong? Not at all. And you're
No.
right. She didn't
No.
explicitly say that she wanted out. However, everything surrounding the statement that she doesn't want to hurt him, and what else did she say? She said that she doesn't want to lose a relationship with someone she loves. It really does kind of sound like want the cake and eat have the cake and eat it too. Like you want the comfort and the stability of being in this relationship, but apparently sexually you want out of it. And unfortunately, once you introduce sex into a relationship, if you take it out abruptly, it can cause damage to the relationship, especially when it's not something that both parties have agreed on to be able to end that sex. So it's kind of like all of her other actions are saying that she wants out, even if she can't consciously type that she wants out of the relationship. And is she wrong for wanting out? No, you're right. She's 26. She got in that relationship at 21. She's young. You're free to do it, but own that. It's the level of accountability that's lacking. Own the fact that you want out of it. Don't try to skirt around it or dance around it. Own that. Take accountability. You want out, say that, because your actions are kind of saying that you want out.
Free T said something here that I want to change the last sentence and ask anybody this question. She said people are allowed to outgrow relationships. Are people allowed to outgrow marriages?
I think the issue with outgrowing marriages boils down to if the two people aren't growing at the same rate.
What does that mean?
So, one thing we said episodes and episodes ago was that I don't think change is a good thing, but I believe growth is something that has to happen in a relationship.
Okay, I agree.
So when you look at a relationship, staying stagnant is fine if both people stay stagnant. And growing is okay if both people grow. But if there's inequity there.
Say it again.
That inequity. Yes. If there's inequality there in that growth rate, then that's a problem. So let's look at you and me.
Okay.
So you have goals that you would like to achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Financial goals, life goals, all that stuff. As we're in our relationship, if we are both trying to grow and do better, that's a beautiful thing. Or if we both sit where we are and we're content, we don't need anything else, that can be a beautiful thing. But if you are constantly working on your growth, like you are making all of these positive changes to be able to reduce consumer debt, and I'm doing everything possible to build my consumer debt, and you're making all these healthy choices so that you can, prioritize your health, going to the gym and everything like that, and eating healthy meals, and I'm still choosing to sit where I am with my level of unhealthy decisions and everything like that, we're growing at a different rate, or you're growing and I'm not growing, and that's a problem. And that's where we run into issues. The comment, are we people are allowed to outgrow relationships, is true, especially if people aren't growing at the same rate or growing in the same direction. In a marriage, the issue is if you two aren't growing at the same rate, that's a problem that can lead to divorce. Or if you feel like you're growing and the other person is not, and you've already planted that seed in your head and there's nothing that can turn you away from that, then that's going to lead to divorce. Essentially, when we get to the point of marriage, it's supposed to be two people coming together as one. Bible says that, vows say it, everything like that. Two people coming together as one. And if at any point that one separates back into two for any reason, there's going to be issues and static in that marriage.
Okay, so they can't split like the cells in the body do?
No.
All right. There was a specific question here that I wanted to bring up as we then wrap up and get to a closing. How do the men combat the ick? And how do women take accountability for it? I need your input on this one. A woman has to give the input on this one.
Okay. Show off. All right. So how do women take accountability for it?
And how do men combat it?
Well, how about I take the women, you take the men?
Okay.
All right. So how do women have accountability for the ick? I think it goes back to a conversation. Like, while no is a full sentence, period, I do also believe that sometimes common courtesy has to trump everything else. And we do need to be able, especially as we get older, be able to communicate and express our feelings. Like, it is 2024. We are no longer in that time frame that our parents lived through where they didn't explain anything. We explain everything. So if you are feeling like something is wrong in your relationship, you need to be woman enough to say that. You need to be woman enough to say, you know, I find you really attractive, and I understand that this may seem childish or you may not be able to understand it, but unfortunately something happened there was a shift like this. No, not something. You did this, and while there's nothing wrong with it on the grand scheme of things, it is personally not appealing to me. And I do not think that I can continue with this relationship as it is.
I ain't want to be on this date anyway. You ain't that fine.
Here you go, walking off again. But like, I think you need to have that level of honesty, right? Like, it's something that the Real Pressure says all the time when she says, be hot, be honest, open and transparent. You need to say what you're really thinking and feeling. Because the reality is, we don't know. But like, that guy that you walk off from because they did something on a date, they've probably done it so many other times, and socially they don't know that they're not supposed to do it. Like, respectfully, I'm a teacher, right? So I can see on my attendance sheet if my student has an IEP or they have a 504. So essentially, if they have some kind of physical learning or cognitive disability, I can see that as a teacher. But the moment you get out of the K through 12 education system, there is not like this little icon that's associated next to us that says this person has social miscues. Like, they don't pick up on things socially, or this person has autism, or this person has Asperger's, or this person has a cognitive learning disability. There's nothing there. So we don't know if the person that we're going out on a date with, if they legitimately don't know that they're doing something wrong. And I'm just going to use you as an example, Free T. And I'm not saying that this is the case. Please know this is just an example. But what if the young man that you went out on a date with, what if he didn't know that you're not supposed to talk about sex on the first date 10 minutes into knowing someone, right? Like, what if everything that he has pulled on dating, he has pulled from social media and he has pulled from television shows, and he truly believes in his heart of hearts that it's okay for him to do that, right? Sometimes having taken that moment to have that conversation and explain to someone why it's not going to work out anymore can help set them up on the path to make some changes that are necessary for them to find success later. Again, it ain't fitting to be success with you because you done already ruled out that you can't be with that person, and that's fine. But at least having that conversation can allow them to know what they need to change later on. And granted, they could be a total jerk about it and be like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. There's 100% something wrong with you. They really could be that jerk about it. We can't control that. But at least we can say, well, at least I told you, right? We don't know. We don't know what other people don't know and they can't comprehend.
Okay.
And I love that. So Free T did say she did explain why they were no longer compatible. And I love that.
Awesome.
Again, awesome. Like, you don't have to go into this long-winded rant that I just went into, but just in general, just saying, women, have that conversation. Like, if you feel like the guy that you were interested in did something and now you're no longer attracted to him, you no longer want to be with him, you no longer want to date him, have that conversation with him, not with social media, not with Reddit, not with your cousin and all of them. Have that conversation with him, because you've already put it in your heart, you've already put it in your mind, it's already there, it's already solid. Have that conversation with him.
So for me, it is, how do you combat it? I don't think you can. My advice is to literally just be yourself. You do need to have a level of self-awareness about yourself and understanding of how society operates, how things are culturally where you're at, right? Because I was down in Atlanta and just looking and observing how people mingle and interact and flirt. It's different than how it is in the DMV area. And the DMV area in Atlanta is going to be different from how it is in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, or the West Coast somewhere in California. So you have to have an understanding of self-awareness and just be yourself. If that other person is going to be turned off by something that you did in a moment or something that you said, there's really nothing that you can do about that. But maybe try and have some self-reflection if things are communicated towards you about what you said or did, and decide if that's something that you want to adjust course for or eliminate altogether, or you can say, hey, I did nothing wrong and I'm gonna do it again. And in that case, good luck with your success rate in trying to find something for what you want to do. So I don't think as a man you can combat the ick. I just think you have to be aware of who you are and what you do, and just be true to yourself, right? If you're a butt wipe, there might be somebody out there that likes butt wipes, and it is what it is. I stopped myself from cursing at the last minute, and butt wipe was all I could come up with.
I love you.
Olive oil. Now we are coming up on time. First of all, I do want to say too, what you said was solid. That was actually really good. I think that the biggest nugget that I hope that people can get from today's episode was what you just ended with, answering that question. So that was dope.
Thank you.
Your answer did not give me the ick. Yeah. Was there anything else before we close out? I don't think so.
No, but I love all this transparency. I love this honesty. I love it when our friends, our loved ones pop in and they give like their point of view, their perspective. It makes the time go by so much smoother.
Okay.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So thank you all. Like, we literally can't do this without you. So thank you.
Yeah, no, y'all definitely make the live streams fun. And I like it when people send text messages or messages to us and say, hey, it'd be cool if y'all had talked about this. We're starting to get that a little bit.
Yeah.
Ken, that's pretty cool. So that's our live stream for today.
Yeah.
We will be back next Tuesday live. Hopefully we're next Monday live. Your boobies distracted me. And hopefully we'll be back in our main studio. The studio is going through some renovations. The person that's doing the renovation should have been done a long time ago.
I'm not gonna lie, like, y'all, I'm loving the lighting of studio.
We call this
A1C, whatever that. Yeah, whatever.
It's working out.
This location, I like it. Like, the lighting looks good with our melanin. Okay, like, do this melanin check. Look how we look, right?
Wait till you see how he got everything set up. I think it's dope. Like, we're gonna be able to do so much more. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. It'll be like a straight up
as long as
studio.
as long as the lighting gives, like, this is giving, because this is giving.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the King and Me Show. We'll be back next Monday live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. The Monday Night Football game's about to get started, so we about to end this live stream, and
I don't even know who they playing, but go other team other than Chiefs. Go them.
Dang, man.
I'm over it. I am so over it.
Does-
I am so over it. The fact that the Vikings
Does Taylor Swift give you the
are
ick?
5-0.
Does Taylor Swift give you the ick?
No, I'm just capitalism, and I understand why they keep advancing because capitalism rules the United States. We do anything for the good old American dollar.
All right, well, I see you in this dress. We're going to have to end this live stream real quick for this game start. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Mwah. See ya.
See ya.